Spirituality is meant to free you. Spirituality should not be used as an excuse. It's the most magnificent tool of escapism available today. If you say whatever happens, happens for the good. So if this happened to me, I'm sure there's some good in it. Where's your learning? Where's your lesson? I don't call it a band-aid. I call it whatever happened to you was good as whitewashing. You want to put a positive spin on something that's negative.
I have seen millions of people's screensavers at 11 because some reel went viral in 2020 talking about 11/11 being lucky. Close your eyes, wish for it.
People are so desperate today to get something nice. You can't expect divine to come through force. Having it as a screensaver makes you dependent on it. And it is also more likely to put you into delusional positivity. Misery loves to wallow. People love being miserable is what I do understand today. They're not comfortable knowing what else they can be. Eyes do not arrive empty. Attention can be positive, it can be negative.
You get to know that negative people or people with the evil eye, ill intentions, they prosper faster. And here you are, honest, hardworking, logical. And it takes so much longer and so much more hard work. Why?
Because they...
Aishvarya, it's such a pleasure to have you today. And the psycho-spirituality is currently one of my favorite topics that I want to explore with you today in this conversation. Tell me, most people do the healing work, who do this healing work, have had a moment where reality has cracked open, right? And not a gentle awakening, like it really has happened, made them think. Something that couldn't be explained away. Tell me, what was yours and how long did you try to explain to yourself before you surrendered to it?
So, thank you for having me. I adore the way you conduct your podcast. So, it was a pleasure to be called here. Let me tell you, I did not have a dramatic awakening. I wish I did because it sort of simplifies things for you.
Yeah.
But in my case, it was not an awakening. In fact, it was an inconvenience that went on for very, very long. From a very young age, single digits, I could sense when someone is speaking something, but there's an underlying current. And as a kid, it confuses you that, okay, this person is saying something, but that's not what they're feeling. And as a child, you don't have a filter. So I would call them out, which would lead to a lot of issues for me. Because an adult never wants to be told that, okay, you're looking strong, but inside you're very afraid. Who do you think is going to make you feel like that? No adult wants to hear that. For a child, it's very confusing because the world doesn't look like it is being shown to you.
Yeah.
Which of course added to a lot of wounds in my life. And as I grew up, I started hunting for ways to understand this. Why is this happening to me? I would say, okay, maybe I'm just observant. Maybe I'm aware of what is going on, but that wasn't the case. And then when I was in 6th or 7th grade, my guides showed up and I started channeling messages, which was again scary because when you have a best friend and you tell the best friend, you know what? Tomorrow your grandmom's going to meet with an accident. You get shunned, sort of. You lose out on friends, which led to me having a lot of unwanted isolation in my life. So the more I went into this, the more distant I felt from everyone because no one's actually telling you what they're thinking, what they're feeling.
Yeah, everyone's wearing a mask and we wear millions. With your friends, you wear a different hat. With your parents, a different hat. With your siblings, your partner, your spouse, your children. And like all relationships also bring out a different side to you. So not only are you wearing different hats, it's like people trigger different things in you. People bring out different versions of you. And you have a different relationship with everyone and you have a different relationship with yourself. Okay. So it may seem like you have a million personalities. I think everyone does also. We don't accept it. And they all show up at different variabilities depending on situations.
They do. And the problem here is, whilst you are juggling this, no one ever tells you, what are you to you? What is your truth? What is your reality? You're so busy pleasing all these other relationships, being seen, being chosen. Everyone wants that. So you just want to keep donning a different personality. Okay, today let me try this. Maybe this will make me seen more. Maybe I'll be loved more by this. All the while forgetting who you are at a core level.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. And I don't think many of us sit with that question. Who really are we at the core level?
The problem here is no one realizes it's important. The minute a child is born, you have a name, you have a religion. And as you grow, you've got your ABC, you've got your languages, you've got your school. At what point does anyone tell a child, who do you want to be? What do you think you are? Do you want to be happy? Are you sad? What are you? No one questions that. No one does. Maybe in school sometimes they do, but the faster you grow up, the more that question is taken away from you. No one asks you to ever explore that. What do you like? What do you want to be? Who are you? What are you feeling? Nah, it doesn't have space in our life, in our family, at work, anywhere.
Yeah, I think most kids are asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Pilot, engineer, doctor,
Absolutely.
career based, achievement based. All questions are based on that. It's not really
and
about self.
whoever's asking you this question, they have their own insecurities and lack. So, whenever they ask you that question, you'll always notice if they say doctor, their voice will shift. If they say engineer, their voice will shift. If they say this one makes so much money, so any child is going to pick up on that change. See, every child can pick up on emotions and feelings faster than anything else.
Because the purity of thought that they have.
Exactly. They have no filters right now. They don't want to please you. That is why they can pick up on this.
Yeah.
But everyone stamps it out quite early.
Yeah. So tell me, you use the word psycho-spiritual healer, right? Which is a pairing of two worlds that most people keep apart, like psychology and spiritual healer. Can you tell me firstly what this fusion means?
So, psychology and spirituality are the two most powerful fields we have available to humanity today. Psychology, for me, was the tool that gave me a language to identify what are wounds, what is a behavior, for me to understand and then probably explain to another. However, what I realized is people can be aware of all their wounds and still function from them. You could be aware of all your patterns and still repeat them. Then comes in spirituality. Spirituality allows you to find the deeper meaning, a reason that you cannot explain away by a form of mental or emotional trauma. Unfortunately, spirituality is also a wonderful escape mechanism.
Yeah, I think so too.
Exactly.
And I think it's mostly used for that also.
It is because, when you have a reason that, Arey, this is happening to you because, you've got bad karma that you have to work out. That does not mean you can't sort it out or you can't shift it. So I combine the two because as much as you need to be intellectually aware, everything cannot be sorted at the mental or emotional level. See, when you've carried a wound or a trauma for years, there is energy accumulation there. And only through energy work can you release that negativity that exists. Tell me if I explain to you that, okay, your wound is of abandonment.
Of a bad?
Of abandonment. I could give you all the examples of why, you're not being abandoned now. You can select yourself. Is it really going to change your thinking in a second? Do you think 10 sessions of talk therapy is going to take away that wound? No. The energy still exists because it has made space within your cells. See, the words we use, they reverberate in every cell within your body. That is why we have something called cellular memory.
Yeah.
Energy work, which is part of spirituality, releases that negativity and the void that exists. I then infuse it with what you actually want to be a belief for you. Human beings don't suffer in one dimension. We suffer mentally, physically, emotionally, relationally, and spiritually.
And financially.
But of course,
Yeah,
sorry for
so-
leaving that out. Yes.
Yeah.
But finances, you've got to understand, financially is always a byproduct of the issues in these realms. So healing has to occur in all these layers. That is why psycho-spiritual healing.
So, when I was reading up about you, I read that you carry the number 5555, 4 times 5, as a part of your identity. Tell me in the angel number language. First, I don't understand what angel numbers are. You can explain that. I don't have too much knowledge about it. And in the angel number language, that's a sequence of massive transformation. Can you throw a bit of light on that?
Okay, so it did not start as a branding point of view, because anyone who does handle brands would say, do not put this in your name. It looks so tacky, it looks so horrible. But during certain difficult periods of my life, this number kept showing up. Now, technically, 555 is about expansion. But for me, every time I was stepping back into a pattern that I've worked very hard to break, this number would show up. So I would think, okay, I need to transform. What does transform mean? Adding to yourself, learn more, do more.
Yeah,
But
evolving.
evolving. What I realized, transformation is not evolving, it is actually subtraction. So the minute I would remove something, something else would click in. And every time I would want to add, this number would show up. So for me, it is a reminder that transformation is not necessarily addition, it is subtraction of what should not be in your life, what should not exist in your energy field. That is why I added this as a reminder that every time I feel I am less than, or I don't know enough, or I need to do more for someone, I need to step back and subtract, because I am anchoring into a reality that was not for me. Every time I think that, I'm not giving enough, that's not me. That is someone else who believes that about me. And I happily anchor into their reality because, my vibrations are dipping. So 555 for me is more to do with subtraction that will lead to transformation, and reminding myself, take a moment, what is the reality you want to anchor into? And you're asking me about angel numbers. We have so many of them.
No,
Everyone.
what does angel number actually mean?
Okay.
The angels are numbered.
So I know everyone calls them angel numbers. I don't call them angel numbers. I look at them as a way of the universe communicating with you. Before we had anything, we had numbers, we had frequency. So, for example, if you see 111, that means go ahead. Whatever you are doing is divinely supported, as in you're in alignment with the universe. When you see 222, it means you are imbalanced. Something about you is not working in harmony of the masculine and the feminine energy. So bring that together. Take a moment. You're going overboard somewhere. 333 for me is more to do with shield yourself. You are doing something that is going to bring you massive results, but there is someone who has a negative eye on you. 444 is a beautiful vibration which says, right now, the energies of removal are at work. So if you feel there's something that's weighing you down, that is the moment you close your eyes. You think of that and you just, draw a black circle on it for it to be removed, as in thrown into the void. 555, as I told you, is transformation. But for me, in the form of subtraction, for anyone else, it is transformation or transmutation. What do I mean by transmutation? The energy that is present right now, you could command it to work in your favor. So if you're surrounded by, say, 3 people who don't like you, who do not like your success, and you see the number 555, close your eyes, pull their energy towards you. Just do this or do any symbol that you're comfortable with the intention that this energy is now going to fall on me in the form of money, success, good looks, love, peace, whatever you want.
So I have a little bit of a disagreement there because sometimes it's like you notice what you're thinking about. It may have already existed. I'll give you an example. Let's say me and my sister are talking about brookies. She tells me, oh, this new thing, brownies and cookies are combined. It's a rage right now. These brookies are so yum. She talks about it. Let's say I've crossed 3 stores every day on my way from home to work that make brookies. Signs are there, shop is there. I've never noticed it because it's not in my conscious. I'm not even looking at it. Now, every day, because she's spoken about it, I'm like, oh my God, since you've told me, all I can see is brookie shops, people standing with a brookie poster. Somebody has talked about it. I heard 2 people at work talking about it. It's almost like now it's come to your notice. So I feel like when you put in these concepts in people's mind about, for example, 111, 222, 333, like you said, I'm not talking about good, bad, or ugly. I'm just talking about the fact that now, because it's a concept, maybe I saw 333 every day, 555, 1111, all these things are happening consecutively all around us. But now I'm putting so much energy into it, I'm drawing conclusions with it, which I shouldn't. So let's say you're evolved in the psychology part of it. So you are psycho-analyzing yourself, your actions, your thought process. So a 555 works for you. The transformation of you said subtracting. It's working to your benefit. You're seeing a 555, you're like, okay, this situation's not working, I need to take away this. But a random person who really has no knowledge of their own emotions, their own triggers, their own mindsets, and they start drawing conclusions from seeing a 555 now because they've heard over this concept and they now start to picture it. I feel like it can be misleading. You understand where I'm coming from?
Completely.
I feel like sugar is bad for you, a statement is heard. Then somebody who does research, what kind of sugars can you consume? And then there are people who are blindly now eating sugar-free tablets in everything possible, which may be more harmful than a spoonful of sugar. So, it's also about knowledge versus conclusions. How much knowledge have you consumed to draw that conclusion? Or just because you heard someone say it, now you're just consuming on that conclusion. So I feel like a lot depends on reasoning. Have you understood what somebody tried to explain? Most people will be like, "Abhi mere ko jab 11 dikhega na, is good luck." I have seen millions of people's screensavers at 11 because some reel went viral in 2020 talking about 11 being lucky. Close your eyes, wish for it. And without knowledge, without study, without exploring why, billions of people are following. So I just feel like I have a reservation with these things because everything is just followed blindly. And like you said, 555 could be transformation for somebody, could be a gain. For you, it's a subtraction. For somebody, could be a loss. But no one's reading into that.
I agree with you 100%. You know, your example of brookies, there's actually a term for that. It's called frequency illusion. You've been made aware of something, so now you're going to spot it. See, the problem with these numbers comes when you actively hunt. That is where everything goes for a toss. Having it as a screensaver makes you dependent on it. And it is also more likely to put you into delusional positivity.
Yeah, that's what I feel it does.
So the whole deal is they stopped looking at it as science. That's the problem. Because technically, numbers, as I said, is the universe communicating with you. You can't force communication. If you're going to go hunting, then firstly, you will not find the number that you want. Secondly, if you're so desperate to hunt for the number, you won't focus on what you're actually supposed to focus, right? And also, then it's not a sign. Then it does not mean you're in alignment. You know, you said that, okay, now that you're aware, you'll see it more. I promise you, you will not see it more. Today, I've told you, you will not see all the 5 numbers. You will not. It doesn't work like that. When you allow it to be a sign from the universe or you allow it to be divine intervention.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I think people forget the differentiation of allowing it to be shown to you versus chasing to see it.
But honey, the need for desperation. People are so desperate today to get something nice. You know, to be nudged, Are, today's going to be a good day, or what you're doing is right. The problem is there. It's that they are in that space of desperation and not of allowance or surrender. You can't expect divine to come through force. It's not supposed to. The more force you require, the more misaligned you are. So, yes, those who go hunting, then that is blind faith, and I don't agree with being blind about anything. You're a human being. You have cognitive abilities. You have spiritual, intuitive abilities. Why should you be blind about anything? If you wanted to be blind, you should have been born as an animal. But you didn't choose an animal birth, did you?
Yeah, I agree. I think that whole mindset shift,
Exactly.
because people hear this information and then start to follow it blindly without really like understanding the subject.
Yeah,
And I just feel like that's where an issue can come. So even in psychology, it's not that people understand it. A lot of people you'll hear saying, "Oh, my husband has, for example, an avoidant nature." No degree in psychology has never read a book and is identifying a trait like an expert. Just because you saw two things on a reel does not mean, or on social media, does not mean that you are eligible to make that distinction. That's what I mean to say. Like, when this information is put out, it should be put out with like a warning sign that please read into it before applying it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, what you just said about psychology, the word narcissist, oh my God, it is so misused today. Nobody realized that every individual has narcissistic abilities.
Traits.
If you are
Exactly.
good, if you're good at something, if you've achieved something, it is bound to happen. It's like arrogance. If you're good at something, that little bit of arrogance does come, because there is no line between being self assured and self confident and arrogant. So these words, people read about it, and then, they're happy to label, okay, this person is behaving like this. What is happening to me is this. No, you should leave certain things to experts, which is why I say, when you see these numbers, before you run your life according to that, talk to someone who is an expert. Don't try to be an expert in everything. Why should you,
Yeah.
when you have others available?
Exactly. So, tell me, when you access someone's soul records, because I read that and I watched a few of your videos that you read people's soul records, right? Firstly, explain what soul records are. And secondly, tell us, when you access someone's soul records, what is actually happening inside your body at that moment?
Okay. So a soul record is essentially all the learnings that your soul has chosen through multiple lifetimes. We do have Akashic records as well that others access, that allows you to see lives and what is going on in that life, or what role is an individual playing. I prefer soul records because it gives you the theme of a certain life and the learnings that come accordingly. So soul records tell you what the theme of a certain life is. For example, you've taken an incarnation in this life and you have 10 themes at play: abandonment, finding love, being seen, being successful, and so on.
Means none of them are working for you.
No,
For
these are
example,
what you want to accomplish as a soul
as a
in
theme.
this lifetime. Yes. So a soul record will show me multiple lifetimes of what the intention was to be achieved in that life, where you failed, why you failed, what did you get entangled in. Before we incarnate as a human being, we decide every single thing. But when we come down, we've forgotten, and we get caught up in what is going on, the emotions, the drama, the wounds, the trauma. So you often fall away from the learning or the evolution that is meant to come. Now, the records allow me to access moments where there is free will to bring you back on track towards what you actually wanted from this life. Now, when I access this, I have to lower my barriers entirely. I am extremely vulnerable to allow information from that soul fragment. Our soul can exist in this body and in multiple bodies at the same time. We can exist in multiple timelines at the same time. You've had a sense of deja vu if you're walking somewhere,
Yeah.
right? Or you see someone, you're like, I've seen this person, I know this person, I've had a conversation with this person, but you've not. You think that's you? No, that's your soul interacting in a parallel reality, doing exactly that. You've had conversations with people and you can swear, I've already spoken about this, and you know what that person's going to say. That is your soul existing in a different timeline. So when I access your soul records, I get to see all of that. I am also shown what you shouldn't be doing. And I've often tried to warn my clients when I was younger, only to realize even when I did warn them, they didn't hear a word.
Yeah, nobody really wants to know.
No,
right?
sweetie, it didn't register. I send reports. When I do my work, I send reports to my clients. I kid you not. In one case, a client was told to move ahead with someone and was so happy. The records did show me that 3 months down the line, this is not going to be what she wants. And I still put in that warning. I kid you not, I sent her that report. She read it 20 times. When she came back after 3 months to fight with me that you said this is all hunky dory, I said, I've written it. I sent her a screenshot. When she sent me a screenshot from her report, the words were missing. They were literally not physically present. That is when I realized I could try all I want. The soul takes over. They get to know only what they are ready and willing to know.
So, you talked about channeling yourself into people's records, right? I think channeling is also a word that gets used very loosely. A lot of people are like, I'm channeling into her energy, I'm channeling into her records, I'm channeling into spirituality. I think the word channeling is like just like used as just any other word. And I think it's a very specific word, because it's like you're saying, I am in tandem with. And you can't be in tandem with everyone's.
Absolutely.
So for you, there is a you that's still present when channeling happens, or does the personality of Aishwarya genuinely just step back?
Okay. First of all, let me tell you, you cannot channel a person's energy. You can tap into a person's energy. The word channel itself means you are a medium for something else. There can't be a you. If there is a you, then you are not a channel. A channel cannot be you and somebody else. When I channel, and that is true, it's not me. If I am present and I am receiving a message for Ashna, won't my brain wake up? Won't I start psychoanalyzing it? Won't I get logical? Then how am I a channel? So when I'm channeling something, I am not present. I am speaking words that are not meant for me. I will communicate them. And the minute I'm done, I have zero recollection of what I've told you.
You don't even remember what
No,
you
I
tell.
don't. Half the time I don't. I have my clients coming to me and telling me, you said this. And I look at them, I did. I'm glad I did. I have no recollection because it is not going to remain in my brain or my cells or my energy because the message is for you. It's not for me. You know, it's
You think like you're not consciously processing this information, hence
exactly. I have to allow my conscious to be shut down entirely. Only then can you be an honest channel. How else will you be? If your brain is awake, you're going to interfere because you know the person, you know their problem, you know everything consciously. But whilst channeling, no. You can't have that interference. It's not possible. Then you're not an honest channel, are you? It happens, you know. Sometimes if I'm with someone who I'm very close to, and I work with my guides on a daily basis, I will be mum for no reason and I'll have this glassy look in my eyes. And they know, okay, what's coming through? And then it comes through. So it's not that I am out. I am present, but I am consciously unaware of what I'm saying.
so let's talk about soul patterns, right? I know it's something that you talk about, and I don't have too much knowledge about it. So I'm really keen to hear and learn and listen myself. You help people see the ones they're repeating, the patterns. Just like I think in psychology we say we're repeating childhood patterns, I think you see people repeating soul patterns, correct? Now tell me, do people actually stop the pattern, or do they want to be told that the pattern has a beautiful spiritual reason and that's why you should keep living it?
So let me tell you one very simple thing. Patterns start out as solutions and then they turn into cages.
Explain that.
For example, you see a girl come out of a relationship, one that she thought was the relationship, and she's heartbroken. Next time she meets a person, she'll say, I want a fling. I want to be free. I want to be independent. She does that. She does that for the first person. She does that for the second. It's good. It's helping her heal because she's probably not taking therapy or not talking to someone. But then she does it the third time. She does it the fourth time. She does it the fifth time. And then she wonders, why am I not in a good relationship? Why is none of my relationship converting into the final relationship? A pattern that started as a solution became a cage. That is what happens with every pattern that exists in a human being's life. Do people want to step out of them? Of course they do. Do they want to use it as a reason to escape their problems? Yes, they do. That's what makes us humans. If
Yeah.
we were willing to break our patterns, we'd be divine, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Soul patterns are a little deeper than your psychological patterns. The soul pattern doesn't arise in this lifetime. It could either come from a previous lifetime or it could be inherited by you because it is what your parents, your grandparents, their siblings, someone faced. They could not work it out, so it starts getting filtered down into us.
What they call generational trauma.
Yes. Cellular memory is very, very real. Your cells are not made up of just what and who you are right now. They contain knowledge of all the lifetimes you've had, which is why for some people, homeopathy works very well. For some people, crystals work very well. Why? The lifetime that they had when they were a crystal. If they found that crystal, that energy anchors into you and it can shift your life 180 degrees. Similarly, be it homeopathy, bark flower remedy, colors. If you had multiple significant lifetimes with that element and you introduce it to today in your today's life, you will see massive results. That is where soul patterns come in play. Something that you've been repeating for multiple lifetimes and not just this lifetime. How does that translate into simple psychological language? You'll be surrounded by people, or maybe one or two people, who have a certain reality in mind for you. Okay, she is like this. I think she should be doing this. She should not be allowed this. She should not be doing that. And if they are stronger than you, what do I mean by stronger? Mentally stronger.
Yeah, more self-assured.
Yes.
Yeah.
They decide your reality and you'll anchor into it. Okay, this is how I have to behave. So, as I give you the example of that girl, if her friends and her family also feel that she doesn't attract serious guys, she doesn't attract guys worth settling down to, don't you think that'll become her reality? It's a doubt
Because
she
she'll
has.
kind of like adapt to it as well.
No, you don't adapt. You anchor into that frequency.
Right.
See, it's like I have 5 people here and they're all thinking the same thing about me. That intention is coming into me, is going to anchor in my field. And when it anchors in my field and I do even one thing that is in alignment, this gets amplified.
Yeah, it becomes the truth.
Exactly. It starts becoming your truth. Now, it's not a truth you wanted. For you, it was a quick fix. But others started believing it. Their reality comes here. Okay, this is my reality. And then you start believing it. And the minute you believe it, that's how everything else will start falling for you. That is why I call it a soul pattern. Now, she could go everywhere, okay? She could finally enroll herself in therapy. She could talk to the best psychiatrist possible who would tell her, okay, it was this relationship. And you know what? In your family, your mom also had this issue where she was in a marriage and she was still not unseen. See, now you're also doing the same thing. Now, he'll trace it here. He may even go back one level that, array, this was the case of your grandmom also. So you've inherited this and you'll do your trauma work. You will definitely see a shift. You will definitely find relief. But what about all this time that the negativity does exist? The reality where there are these 10 people who say, haha, you're getting better, but I still think that is difficult. What are you doing to build up your truth? What are you consciously doing to change your reality? That no, you know what, this was a fix for me. I am
It's
choosing
like
to
the
step out
medication's
now.
going on, but then you've not found the outcome.
You can't. See, medicines are amazing, but they never treat the root. They're all about symptoms. Which medicine do you know that actually goes down to treat the root?
Hmm.
And the root cannot be one single root, it has offshoots. Then,
Yeah. So, past life work deals with stories that can't be verified, right, by the person receiving them. How do you hold the responsibility of that? How have you taken the onus of that? What's your internal check against projection? Because your own biases, your own thought process, your own conditioning might come in the way.
it does. So, let me tell you the first thing I do is if someone wants to look at a past life, for me, there has to be a reason. You cannot come for a walk, which a lot of people do today. I just want to see my life. Why do you want to see your life? What is it in this life that you have not tried working on through psychotherapy or through energy work that you must visit something there? Secondly, are you a skeptic? Because you have enough of those that I want to come and test you. If you want to come and test me, it's not going to work for you anyways. Because I am literally bypassing your conscious mind. I am asking you to shut it down. You're not going to do it. And my job is not to convince you. If you need convincing, then you're not in the right place in the first point. When it comes to past life, it's not just about going behind and seeing something. That's the whole point for me. If you've come to me with a phobia, an ailment, or a relationship pattern that has shown up multiple times, and I'm not able to channel something for you, only then will I open a past life. Otherwise, I do not do it because this is not entertainment. This is not a space that is supposed to be taken lightly. When you open someone's past life, you can show them something painful, you can show them something beautiful. Let me give you an example. I had a client and she had the most horrible relationship with her dad. He was her
In this life.
in this life. He was her champion, and yet he was the biggest bully in her life. And she was this wonderful girl, full of potential, but she could not understand for the life of her why this was the case.
Why was she bullied?
By her dad, constantly. And not because she was an underachiever. She was a topper, 90% throughout, bright future.
But he was a control freak, let's say.
Not a control freak. It's like anything she does, it's not enough. And when I say not enough, it's not that he had others to compare her with. That didn't exist. He still couldn't accept her. When we went back to see her lifetime, now this is why I say you do not walk into a past life, because sometimes you see things that you don't want to. The dad was married to his mum, and she was the child who was born through another person. She was a love child. So he could not accept her in that lifetime, which is why, in spite of her being his legitimate daughter in this lifetime, he still cannot accept her. And this ties up to her soul theme, which was around acceptance and reaching your potential. In that lifetime, she was a brilliant writer. Brilliant. But because she was illegitimate, she was never given any opportunity to succeed. So, see how beautifully it ties up with two themes here: the fight for acceptance and the potential that she now has. She's legitimate, she has all the channels possible to flourish. She's not able to because she's still fighting for that acceptance. It had nothing to do with her, it had to do with the father.
And were you able to tell her all of this?
I did. It took her upwards of a month and a half to process it. That all she could focus on was, so he rejected me there and he's rejecting me now as well. Why is he doing this? Now, the problem here was it had nothing to do with the father. It was the wife in the previous lifetime and the mother in this lifetime who would do everything in her power for the father and the daughter to never get close. Now, you understand why she did that? Right now, she's the grandmother, but she can't allow the father and daughter to get close because she's triggered from that lifetime. She was a love child. Why was she a love child? Because that wife could not give the father a child.
You know, like you said, a lot of people would come to you as entertainment. Even if someone didn't come to you for entertainment, let's say this lady here who's come for all of this, and then after finding out thinks it's voodoo and thinks it's like a joke and thinks like it's made up, then what do you do that? Do you feel like, oh, my hard work went to waste? Or do you feel like that person is not supposed to know, hence they're not going to learn from this? Like, what is the conclusion there? Do you think it's stuck in a mindset, or do you think that they were not meant to learn from this and move on? Because even after being open, sometimes you don't want to be open. You know what I mean?
You don't want
Like,
answers. You want to create the appearance of wanting the knowledge.
no, I don't mean it like that. I'm not talking negatively towards the person who's come for receiving. I mean, like, what if the skepticism comes at that point, even if they didn't expect it to come? What if they hear all of this, they come with an open arm to say, come hug me? You're coming to us and you're like, you know what, I don't want a hug. It's almost like that. Like, the skepticism comes about at that point after learning, let's say, all of this information. So what do you do with, how do you feel at that point? Do you feel disappointed? Do you want to convince them, or do you feel like they were not ready? Like, explain what you feel at that point.
When I was younger, when I was in college and I was doing all of this, that point, it used to affect me because, it made me doubt myself when they didn't agree. But as I grew up, I realized before they even open their mouth, I can feel what they are feeling. So they come to me with that look, I'm open, I want to know everything. I already know the three emotions which are functioning beneath that. I already know what they need to hear from me, what they'll be willing to accept, and what they want to deny. So now it's not about that. And you know how you said that, what if they say, yeah, whatever, we don't want to go along with that? That doesn't happen. Awareness will shift things for you. My job is just to relay it to you. What you do with it is not even in your hands. Your soul wanted that information to come to you. It's come. Now, whether you act on it today or 10 years from today, you will act on it. It will bring you at a fork where your direction will change. You won't come to me other than that. When you're younger, your aim is more to get clients, to be believed. As you grow older and the more you do what I do, there is one aim: bring me people who genuinely want to shift their reality. That is what I wake up with, and that is what I sleep.
It's like that help, no? I really want to help, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you start off. Nobody else will, according to me, enter on either of these two fields if you don't want to help at large.
Yeah, I think psycho or spiritual, both are a service. And of
They
course, you
are.
have to have the helping nature to be in any of those spaces. So, Aishwarya, you work with past life trauma, and I sort of believe in this life's conditioning. Here's the bridge. In your experience, how much of what we call childhood wounding is actually a soul pattern that a person chose specifically to be triggered?
So, as important as childhood is, it's not just about childhood. According to me, the soul works in three layers: who you arrive as, who you become, and what your environment makes you. You already have a soul theme at play. So, if you have a difficult environment as a child, which leads to childhood trauma, you are just walking into your soul theme. As human beings, we struggle to evolve without suffering or pain. It is very difficult to find an individual who has everything and has yet gone on to do something extraordinary.
I think I evolved the most when I went through my darkest phases of my life.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't happen when everything's hunky dory.
It can't, which is why those who had the worst childhood often turn out to be amazing human beings. For example, the one who wasn't given love, they could either choose to be the most loving people around, the most caring people, or they could shut down, either or. But you'll always see someone who is extraordinary. They have gone through certain things that no one should. See, my need to help actually arose from that isolation which existed in childhood, that lack of understanding. My need to understand myself led me to realize, what? Everyone wants to be understood and they are not. Why are they not understood? Because they don't want to understand themselves. They would rather someone else understands them and treats them better. But if you're not giving that to yourself, why should someone else do it? So, as a child, if your parent doesn't have time for you, you will see to it that you make time for everyone, that you don't make anyone feel unseen. Because
It
you
can
know how
also
it
work the
feels.
other way around. That example you gave, like I had a very good childhood and I had very loving parents. I still have very loving parents. And that makes me a very loving parent as well. So it can work the other way as well. Sometimes you come from abundance and yes, hence you're abundant. Because you come from abundance, that's the only way you know. You don't know how to be lack of it.
So, the beauty is the mindset it gives you. When you use it in terms of the word abundance, yes, if you've had abundance, it allows you to attract more. You know how people say money pulls money?
Yeah.
That's the truth when it comes to abundance.
Yeah, that's how I
But
see it.
I agree with you, but everything else doesn't work in that.
Yeah.
You end up going in extremes when you faced a lot of adversity. Either you'll do very well to compensate for it, or you'll go the other way.
Spiraling downwards.
Exactly. So both happen.
Yeah. So tell me, if a child grows up, I'll give you an example. Explain this to me. So let's say a child grows up feeling emotionally very unsafe, right? And has grown up in a house that didn't really provide the love and security every child must have as a toddler. Do you think this is the family is doing? Do you think this is the conditioning the family brought on? Or according to you, the soul chose this family to learn something?
The soul chose the family because, sweetie, we don't just choose our family, we choose the city, we choose the country, we choose the continent. Our soul is not so small that it focuses on one thing. It literally has this picture from high, high, high up, where it will even include the people who walk into your life. Like, you said a child could have a wonderful upbringing, but at some point, there will be one random family member or a stranger who will come and do something to a child. Say something that will stay in their psyche forever. So that is all your soul's doing. So if a child is feeling unsafe, it is a choice, right? You are choosing those parents to create a certain rupture that would allow an opening for you to grow into.
Yeah. Yeah, because we all require ruptures to learn something. Until and unless we don't have the downward graph, the graph doesn't go back up. Otherwise, it's like this. I always explain in life, if your graph is like this, you ain't going nowhere. It has to be like this for you to go upwards. It has to be the ups and downs. And the downs always teach you resilience. They always teach you what went wrong, why, what you could learn from it. I mean, not necessarily, not everyone learns from it, but I'm just saying, like, if you have the growth mindset, I think mindset is so important, right? If you have the growth mindset, you definitely want to learn from all the downward phases and move upwards. And then there's some people, no matter what, down, up, then you want to grow, matlab, wo to you can't really help them at all.
Sweetie, it's not so simple as growth mindset. If they've not been told that you can look at it in a different point of view, if you're conditioned to look at it as just your failures, where will that come from? And nature teaches us this. A seed cannot grow into a tree until it breaks from within. So something has to break for something stronger or more beautiful or more powerful to come out of you. It can't. You said the graph can't be this. It is this when you're dead.
Yeah,
It has
exactly.
to be this. And that is why, as I said, you've chosen to be a human being. If you wanted this tree, crystal, animal, be any other life form, why a human life form?
So most people spend their entire life trying to, stop being who their childhood made them. Everybody wants to evolve from that. In your understanding, is that the work or the real work is something else entirely?
Honestly, the real work is something else entirely. Because when you're a child, as I said, you don't know what you want, who you are, where you are. You anchor into the reality that your parents want for you, that your siblings want for you, that your friends want to you. So, for example, you go to school and you do well, or you're a popular kid. Everyone believes that for you, it becomes your reality. If you're a shy, mousy little person and you're left by yourself, you start believing that for you that, okay, I'm quiet, I'm reserved, this is who I am. So, where is the work here? You aren't who you should be or who you were meant to be. The work comes much later. Why do you think why we call it childhood trauma? Because it's what others believe about us that we start believing about ourselves and decide, okay, this is who I'm going to be for the rest of my life. It's not true. It's really, really not true. There are probably a very tiny percentage of children who are able to understand and know what they want to be or what kind of a reality they want to live. Let me give you an example here. I have a client I'm working with, and they have a 5-year-old daughter. And all she talks about is, when I grow up, I'm going to have a private jet. When I grow up, I'm going to have so many shoes. When I grow up, this. A 5-year-old extremely concerned. Chalo, till she was
Concerned about materialistic achievements.
Yes. Till it was this, it was okay. She became 5.5, and her words were, I would like to have 1 crore. I would like to have at least 3 trillion. That is where the mother got a little concerned.
And this was coming without the mother's
Without
teaching.
anything. Because, okay, so she's a sweetheart who worked with me before she got pregnant. Yeah, before she got pregnant. So I already told her, look, these are your problems. These are your husband's problems. These are your grandparents' problems. Your child is inheriting all of this. So she was aware of the things that, she's passing on to the child. You can't be 100% healed. Every soul that is coming to learn through you, work through you. When she started saying this at 5.5, now the wife was not aware. The husband suffered a massive loss in his business. And he never showed it at home. But the child picked up on the father's energies that we need money, we need money, we need money. So her materialism turned into numbers. I need to have this much. I need to have this much. I need to have this much. So when the child started doing this, can you understand? It was the father's reality where he believed money is of grave importance and I don't have enough. Imagine, he's not said anything, he's not done anything. But that 5.5-year-old girl is saying, I need this much money, I need this much money. Now, her reality at this age is only becoming money, money, money. I need to have more money, I need to have more money. So, is that hers? No. Does a 5.5-year-old need to worry about what amount of money is there in the bank? She actually, a 5.5-year-old girl asking her mom, Mama, how much money do you have in the bank? How does a girl come to this conclusion? Why does she want to ask her mother this? And not once, but multiple times. And what is the reaction of the family? Shut it down. You're a child, don't talk about money. You're a child, you should not. You just go play. What are you doing to her? Here she's trying to work out something. And then you tell her, don't talk about money. What are you correlating? Money is not something you talk about. Hush, hush, be quiet. Is this any of this hers? No. She's picking up, and then she's being told she can't work through it. What is her reality going to grow up as? Please think about it. What is it going to make her think? That, okay, money is very important, but I can't talk about money. I can't ask questions about money. Why can't you ask questions about money? Can you imagine the amount of importance tied to money for a 5.5-year-old? This is why I said the real work starts after childhood. Because your childhood is really not yours. Your childhood, or that child's childhood, belongs more to those around the child
environment.
than it does to the child himself or herself. Because we don't live.
As we want, we are given
No.
everything.
No, honey. A child is not allowed to be a child. You have your routine, you have your school. How much of a free time does a child have? If you look at tribals, or if you look at some parents who've decided to say no to the education system, they allow their child to experience childhood. A child who's 5 and is aware of what a private jet is aware of what 1 crore is. Can you understand? She's not a child. She's already hearing things that are not right for her mentally and emotionally, because all these things carry a charge. There is energy attached to all these things. That's
Wow.
why childhood is not the child's.
So, healers rarely talk about this honestly. What has this work cost you personally? Like, healers don't talk about it. They don't talk about what this work actually takes away from them. Not in terms of energy, but in relationship, in your sense of what's normal now, in the most ordinary conversations now that you feel.
So it takes away almost at every level. I told you as a child, I could feel emotions.
Yeah.
As I've grown up, I now know what they mean. So when someone who's close to you says one thing, but they don't mean it, and you can feel it, you can't do anything about it. You have to take them at their face value. It's painful. It's very painful. When
You have to pretend to understand that version.
you have to pretend to believe their falsehood. That they're telling me they love me. They're telling me that they want me to thrive. And underneath it, I can see, yeah, I don't think she deserves to rise so much. There's nothing about her that should bring her to all of this. It hurts. It hurts a lot. You get married, and then you go and you're in a new place, and then you realize there are so many people who are only fake. So, what it costed me was peace of mind. And you know how you can abandon yourself and just have mundane conversations? I can't do that. If I see someone talking to me and I know they're in pain, that they have grief going on with them, it's very difficult for me to check myself and not rush to their aid. I cannot just, one day decide, okay, today I'm going to go out and just laugh my ass off. I cannot just go out and be this random girl who can talk about bullshit, because I start seeing patterns. Okay, she said this word. This is why she's saying it. This is what caused her to do it. This is what she wants from it. I can't have those stupid conversations that you do have, right?
Yeah, it's like you can't be mindless.
You can't be mindless. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it is so much fun to be mindless. It costs you that. It costs you energies in the sense There will be people who will come and tell you, we want the best for you. And I can literally see the negative energy being cast on me or someone I love. I can't really go and tell them, you know what? Your mom doesn't have the best intentions for you.
Yeah.
It's cruel.
Yeah.
It's cruel. And yet, I have to stand by helplessly while that happens.
Watch it.
I can't do anything. I can't go and tell them that, you know what, your sister doesn't really love you. You know what, your child in this moment would do anything for you to not be in class or in school or at work. They don't want to see you. There's so much hatred. It shows you, dominating emotions in a family, and that is crippling. So I do not want to go out socially at all. I become a loner.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, for example, you can see things in the room that nobody else can see. So you rather just stay home and not go to those rooms and see those things, right?
It's not worth it. It makes you feel like they are choosing to be ignorant. Some things are so obvious, but
But that's even to psychologists. Like, for example, I feel like the more and more I'm reading and, getting to understand the human psyche, I feel like some people are just purposely, I don't know, being dumb. Like, can't they see that this is
they're
what they're doing
choosing
to
to.
themselves? Can't they see, like I understand it becomes your normal. But to people, it's still not their normal. Like you're saying, it's so obvious, but sometimes it's still not obvious to
It's not obvious.
people.
My problem here is this, no, that even when it becomes obvious, now this is the second energy current I see, that okay, they've identified they are being used. They still continue to put themselves in that situation because someone in their childhood told them, no, you've always got to serve. You've always got to be there for others. You can't choose yourself. And when I see that, that breaks my heart on a regular basis that this person is so nice, but they are living out a reality that was imposed in childhood and absolutely messing up their life as
Their
they
life.
know it, as they grow, as they go through life.
Tell me, as a very popular statement, I think culturally we all use a lot. I think it's slightly overused as well. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for your benefit. सब अच्छे के लिए ही होता है, right? इसमें कोई reason होएगा that's happened to you. I'm sure everybody has heard it on a daily basis almost. Do you think, according to you, this is just trauma with a good branding? Or do you think that the spiritual community, your healer community, sometimes uses past life theories to make peace with something that I probably should be angry about today?
It's the most magnificent tool of escapism available today. You say this when you don't want to deal with what you're feeling. You know how people say if you're angry, you're not spiritual? My belief is the other way around. If you are allowed to get angry, if you're willing to be angry, you could not be more spiritual. When do you get angry? You get angry when a boundary is broken, when you feel violated, when a wound is scratched, when you bleed. Now, if you say there's a reason to this, or karmically this should have happened to you, what are you doing? You're throwing sand over it. You're not allowing yourself to feel what you're supposed to feel. Why wouldn't you do that? Even if there is a reason, it does not excuse human behavior. Spirituality should not be used as an excuse, and that is what everyone does.
Yeah.
Spirituality is meant to free you. It is meant for you to notice where you've been doing wrong by yourself. So when you say whatever happens, happens for good, it's a sentence which really puts me off.
It's like that band-aid, like you said,
It's not even a band-aid, it makes me mad. You refuse to see what has happened. You refuse to take ownership or demand accountability from someone who's putting you in a place that you shouldn't have been. So, if you've been betrayed and you say, let it go, ye hona tha, why? You've been betrayed. You need to feel that emotion. You need to feel what has happened with you.
Or learn from it, why you were betrayed.
How are you going to learn if you don't feel it? If you say whatever happens, happens for the good. So if this happened to me, I'm sure there's some good in it. Where's your learning? Where's your lesson? How will it come if you deny yourself the choice to feel what has happened? So I don't call it a band aid. I call it whatever happened to you was good as whitewashing. Why are you whitewashing? It is whitewashing. You want to put a positive spin on something that's negative. No. You call a black, you call a white. Grays exist when they mix. You can't do that. It's not right.
The spiritual world often promises resolution, like heal the past life, change the present. I see a lot of like social media where spiritual healers are like, only if you go back and change the past, if you heal the trauma in your past life, if you change the story of your past life. And I'm very wary of these things as a person. But what if some patterns aren't meant to be healed? Like, what if some of them are the point? Like, what if this is why this is the life? Like, have you ever told someone that?
Absolutely. Why not? Let me answer this one by one. Now, if you see a past life, you will see one pattern. You'll see maximum two issues. Our life has multiple issues. So, past life will show you one. What will it show you? Okay, this was supposed to be the learning, but you got caught up. You didn't learn that lesson. So, you're repeating this here to learn this lesson. If you choose to even become aware of that lesson, you've learned it, it will dissolve. But then there are certain patterns which are not meant to dissolve. For example, if you want to bring awareness to the world, okay, you will study more, you will learn more, you do everything where your brain, your ear catches bits of wisdom. Is that not a pattern? Do you want to grow out of it? Of course not. So, whether a pattern works in your favor or a pattern works against you, that is always your choice. You cannot look at past life, you cannot look at astrology as reasons to allow you to continue the way you are continuing. No. Healers ask you to look at these things to reduce the baggage. For example, you're carrying 10 bags. Past life will drop 2. Healing will drop another 2. Therapy will drop another 3. You have to drop all of it to walk ahead in a better manner. So things work in correlation. You can't just dump all the blame in one space. And if you feel a need to blame, you're already lost. You're already stuck inside a maze that you're not going to find a way out of.
Yeah, because I feel like when I mostly hear people talk about past life astrology, it's like a crutch, Things aren't good in my life because of past life, so someone told me. My life is not going well because my stars are not aligned, so someone told me. Everything is not going well for me because the records weren't right. So it's almost like excuse finding. I don't want to work on my behavior and my mindset and my current way of being and patterns. So let's just blame everything else that's up in the air: astrology, past life, records, XYZ. I feel like mostly people use it as that, like an excuse. Like I don't know many people who go and say, my life changed because of this. Mostly it's like, I've understood why I'm failing. I've understood why I'm upset. I've understood why life hasn't worked out. So like I've seen a lot of victimhood comes from there.
I had a client who came to me because she was in a shitty relationship, wasn't happy with the way her life goes on. The first thing we did was we opened her cards to pick up her energies. Is this all hers, or is this something that is, been sent her way? We went to a past life because she wanted clarity on why is she in relationships where she's only taken for granted, abused, used, exploited. When we did that, we saw in a very, very old life that she had a partner, not by choice, but she was sold to that person and she was used. That was fracture number one. We saw another lifetime where the same person comes in as a brother and then abuses her. By abuse, I don't mean sexual abuse, but mental, physical, emotional abuse. We saw multiple lives in her case where every time that she wanted love, it was only met by exploitation. It started becoming a soul pattern for her that she kept living again and again and again. Why did she come to me? Because she wanted relief. She wanted a ray of hope. That is why any person goes into past life or interchanneling or energy work, that can something happened. But if she had stopped there, then yes, it would continue to her feeling like a victim.
Yeah.
She went ahead to get energy work done, to get psychospiritual therapy done, and I kid you not, her life is at a 180-degree shift. She's no longer the one begging for scraps of love. She is the one who decides how she gets treated today. So when you allow your client to walk away with this awareness of what is happening to you, you leave them with a choice. Do you want to continue being victimized in your life? Because now you have answers. Okay, my planets are saying this, that is why I'm getting screwed. My past life karma says this, that is why this is happening. Then yes, they will continue escaping what is meant for them.
Yeah.
But if they choose the energy work, then of course not. 180-degree shift, and I promise you, I have more than enough cases to show you how this works. So it's always an individual's choice whether they want to escape or do they actually
Want
want
the
their life
change.
to shift, because most people don't want it.
Yeah.
They're
That's what
very
I meant by the question, that most people, I think, are just looking for that validation of, yeah, see, I'm a victim. Now you know why I'm a victim.
see, misery loves to wallow. People love being miserable, is what I do understand today. They're not comfortable knowing what else they can be. So it's okay to be miserable very
Yeah.
often.
I think, unfortunately, it's true. I see it too. So, lastly, I want to talk about something that I think is a dilemma for most Indians. Nazar. Okay. Now, Nazar is one of the oldest fears passed down in Indian homes. Now, don't shine too bright. Sabko mat batao how much you have. Don't show it. Someone's eye will catch you. Something will go wrong. Itna sab kuch hai, mat bolo, chala jayega. You know, like it's a very big factor in Indian homes. Firstly, tell me, what is your opinion on Nazar? Secondly, tell me, did you grow up with that fear?
I did grow up with it. And human beings learn a version of this fear everywhere. Nazar is what you call it in India. In Italian, it's called malocchio. In Iran, it's called cheshma zakham. In Mexico, it's called mal de uja. Basically, different languages, different cultures, different countries. They all say the same thing: eyes do not arrive empty. What does this mean? Attention can be positive, it can be negative. It's not possible that there's no wisdom in this if it exists all over the world. People don't stare at you with love all the time. Not everyone wants you to grow. I'm sure you've had a conversation where you told someone of something amazing that has happened and they were happy and you felt, expanded. You felt light. This person is happy for me. And I am 100% sure you've spoken to somebody, told them about something good, and suddenly felt uneasy, drained, and either it didn't happen for you or some obstacle came. Yes or no?
Yeah.
It's happened. It's happened with all of us. So it is not about shining too bright or dimming your shine. The problem arises when you start shrinking instead of shielding yourself, when you choose overprotectiveness instead of discernment. Let me tell you about a certain someone in my life. Now, this lady is known as someone who has the worst evil eye possible. I was.
What do you mean by worst evil eye? Like, they don't look at you with good intentions.
She will come to you and say, "Wow, you are beautiful. What a sari you're wearing." She said that to me. She turned around. 3 minutes later, my sari ripped. There's another individual who complimented someone on their pearl necklace. 10 minutes later, necklace breaks. I was at a party with a friend. He was looking very nice. He was talking to somebody. And I told him, the minute you reach home, you tell your wife to utaro your nazar. He didn't listen to me. He laughed. He was down with 101 fever that night. It's about how strongly they wish you ill. And people do wish you ill. And more often than not, it is someone you know, someone you're close to. Eyes do not arrive empty. They carry intentions, they carry charge, they carry intentions, they carry so much.
You can't help it, right?
Of course, because they are insecure, they have their own problems.
Yeah.
But the problem arises is, they wish it so wholeheartedly. You know how
It
everyone
has
is.
power over you.
Yes. It doesn't have power over you. It's the ferocity with which they send it to you.
Also, like what you're saying is true. It does happen. Like, I'll give you an example very close to what you said. And I was wondering why that happened. I was shooting a podcast and I never really wear Indian clothes. I don't dress up in the Indian format ever for my podcast. I don't think I've ever done it. And one time that I did, just the one time, I wore a bindi, I wore a suit, salwar kameez, proper, I dressed up and came. I wanted to that day, and I had the guest I had, I think, brought out that thing in the morning. I was like, no, today I'm going to dress up all Indian and come. I interacted with 20 human beings that day, not just the guest, but 20 human beings. Everyone was like, oh my God, you look so different, you look so beautiful. I don't think they meant ill. At least I don't feel like that. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I went back home and I told my help, I said, it was crazy the way people were, looking at me like, oh, you look like this in Indian clothes, wearing a bindi, and so many compliments. And she casually said, she's like, Bhabhi, itna nazar laga hoga. And I laughed it off. I didn't say anything. Funny enough, 5 days later, she goes, the suit you were wearing that day, it's gone. I said, what do you mean? She's like, it bled. I said, what do you mean by bled? I said, I bought it for that shoot. You're telling me I can't use it again? She's like, no, it's ruined. It's completely ruined. And then I laughed at her. I was like, okay, maybe that what you said is true. Maybe nazar lagi hogi, like that. So you're right. Like, sometimes, I don't know, you say it, you believe it. Sometimes I don't want to believe it. It's kind of a dilemma that I live in. I personally live in. I want to believe it, but then I don't want to believe it. I don't feel like it has that much power.
Do you know why you don't want to believe it?
Because it's not logical.
No. If you believe it, a part of you will say, so I am at its mercy. How am I supposed to shield myself from it? I'm always going to be at its mercy. That is why people don't want to believe it.
Maybe.
Are you told how to protect yourself from it? No. From childhood, okay, when you have a cute child, mama papa will say, iski nazar utarna, kala tika lagana, isko ye karna. Right?
Yeah.
You grow up with this. And then you logicalize it and then deny it. Why? Because you don't know how to shield yourself from it. That's the only reason.
Possible. So tell me, sometimes also you get to know that negative people or people with the evil eye, ill intentions, they prosper faster. और उनका काम हो जाता है. And here you are, honest, hardworking, logical, truthful, not really doing bad things, and it takes so much longer and so much more hard work. Why does it happen? Like, sometimes you weigh the scale and you feel like these people, it works out for them much faster. Why?
Because they believe in doing well 100%. Those who are positive, those who are moralistic, they don't believe in themselves. Have you noticed that? Sit with them, have a conversation. You have a strong enough background in psychology. Talk to them. Do they even sound 50% as self assured or delusional as the so called negative people?
The negative people are very sure of themselves.
Exactly. And it is that self assuredness that creates that reality for them. Today I want 100 crores, it'll come. Today I want to have an interview with whoever, it'll happen. And this nice, positive, kind soul will only spend their time doubting themselves. So their intention, their self belief is not that strong. So why will it happen for them?
The energy created is not pulling the reality for them.
Does not. They will not. They don't anchor into a truth which they want to believe. These negative people, they have no room for doubt at all.
So tell me, the going back to the nazar thing, the remedies, the kala tikka, like you mentioned, for the kids, the nimbu, the mirchi, the evil eye bracelets. Do you think they're all real? Do you think they actually help? Or is it something psychological we've built up for ourselves to protect ourselves?
Human beings for millennia are ritualistic people. We love our symbols. We love our diya. We love our dhaga. If you go to other countries, in Turkey, I believe, they will give you evil eye. They don't say you can buy it.
They say you have to be gifted.
Yeah. Now, the addendum to this is someone who loves you has to gift it. So, if, for example, I adore you, I genuinely love you, Ashna, I would give it to you with so much purity that it will create a shield around you. Your thoughts and your words become your life. So if I give it to you with that much, it will. Why do you think when for a child, a grandmom or a mom utaros the nazar, it goes out like this? It's your purity of intention. But as human beings, we won't believe in that much, no? We need something in between. Hence, the ritual or a symbol or a totem. They all work because it's infused with that intention.
So tell me, most people in the spiritual healing world, they talk about twin flames, karmic contracts, soul families, right? But you work with real people in real pain. Give me an example of a pattern that you've seen repeat so precisely across someone's past and present life that even a skeptic in the room would have gone quiet.
Karmic partners is what you say when a lot of people want to escape the problems in their relationship. So, if you're sitting with someone, or rather, when I've worked with people, you get to see in multiple lifetimes they choose to run from love. What you actually want is validation. You want to be seen, you want to be felt, you want to be heard. Now, you want that. That is your soul theme. So, I have a client who comes to me. This is what I can see from her records. This is her soul theme. She's with a partner who does none of those things. Why? Because she refuses to see herself. She refuses to feel herself. That is why a karmic partner comes in your life. So forget what I see. Look around you. Most of the relationships you will see today have these five things in common, be it your parents, be it your own, be it your friends. These are at play. Why? All of us are with karmic partners. If you are not with a karmic partner, how are you going to look at yourself? See, a soul mate or a soul partner comes into your life as a mirror. That is what twin flames are often called, mirrors of you. I have that. But do they have love? Do they have their partner? Do they have their twin flame with them? No, it's one of the most painful journeys possible because they're lost in their own wounds, in their own insecurities. That is why when people say, I am with a karmic partner, I am trying to clear my karmic contract, of course you are. You've not looked at yourself. You've not checked in with you. If you don't love yourself, if you can't see yourself, how are you going to be with a soulmate? And for the few couples you see who are in sync, who are just in tandem with each other, they are soulmates. They see their partner because they see themselves also.
Yeah, it's like that theory of psychology, love yourself, only then can you love others. It's sort of that similar mindset or the similar theory.
As overdone as it is still not in practice at all. Nobody does it.
Yeah, I know. I
You
mean,
do
there
it
are a
in
lot of
bits and
things to be,
pieces.
when somebody's a child and you tell them, don't lie. And then you say it over and over to your child. And then they see examples of you lying, they see examples of you manipulating. So that whole version of don't lie goes away because they see versions of the lies and then they pick up on it. So
Obviously.
it's the same thing. Like you hear a lot of love yourself and practice this for yourself and first heal yourself. You hear it, but then it's hard to practice. It's like easier said than done.
If you can't see it happening around, what is going to prompt you to do it?
Yeah.
Like you said, love yourself. When did you actually see it around you? Childhood, adulthood, do you see it around you? Do you see your parents, your husband, your wife, your in-laws, your friends do it? When no one's practicing it, do you realize how difficult it is for you to practice it?
Aishwarya, tell me lastly, the one thing you would like to tell our listeners to look at, um, you want them to practice something, you want them to look at something in their life that they can truly make a very small change and yet a massive change that you have done for yourself.
Two simple questions that I say all the time. Whose reality am I living? Whose truth am I embodying? You could start your day with that. If you wake up all happy, you can still ask that question, whose reality am I living? And you'll realize maybe you've tapped into your child's reality or your dog's reality. If your day goes on and you're mad and you ask yourself, whose truth is this? I promise you, a name, a face, a word will come to your mind. When you do this, you allow yourself the choice to disengage, to come back to your center, and then continue from there. Two simple statements, and they make a world's difference in your life.
Thank you, Aishwarya. That was a beautiful conversation, and I hope everyone enjoys it as much as I did.
Thank you so much for having me, Ashna. It was a complete joy to be here.